So how do you get into a situation where you make the most of your time, where every moment is spent on growing your business and everything else in your life is solved in the most efficient way possible? Sure, you can have a house cleaner, but what could you do to maximize efficiency so that you can increase your productivity? I'm starting to sound like Tuvok from Star Trek here. So I watched The Pursuit of Happyness when it came out back in 2006, the story of Gardner being played by Will Smith. It was a great movie overall with many key points, but one thing that stood out to me was when he was narrating over a scene. He said, "Whoever brought in the most money after 6 months was usually hired. They stayed till 7, but I had my son. I had to do in 6 hours what they did in 9. In order to not waste any time, I wasn't hanging up the phone in between phone calls. I realized that by not hanging up the phone in between calls, I gained 8 minutes a day. I also wasn't drinking any water, so I didn't waste any time by going to the bathroom." This forever left an impression on me. I always thought about how to maximize my time in order to increase my productivity. And yes, that at times made me think back to that line from Star Trek, although I believe Mr. Tuvok said increase performance and maximize efficiency. But either way, it's a great line. Let me know if you remember that. Throughout the younger days of my life, I would always seek out ways to do 2 or more things at once, or eliminate tasks altogether. For example, in my younger days, I would have the alarm clock that was set to wake me up set to 1010's Wins News. Or I'd listen to that station while driving to work. I always wanted to stay informed, so I didn't turn on music. But there would be these radio ads that would come on, and I don't remember the name of the company, but they would say things like, "You're a New Yorker, you don't have time for that, you brushed your teeth while taking a shower." And although I never tried that, it does make sense when you think about it. I mean, the soap is running off your body while you're brushing your teeth. Efficiency. But it made me think about other things, like, what if I have a container holding Q-tips on a shelf next to the toilet while I'm taking a poop? Well, I can clean my ears while I'm on the toilet. And for those of you who are imagining me sitting on the toilet right now, try to think of a cute monkey instead. But I try to look for the most efficient way to do things as possible. Like, for example, when I was a teenager, I used to work making breakfast. So I know how to make a killer breakfast, and occasionally I do, but that's only on special occasions. A typical day for me is that I wake up, I put 3 eggs in an egg steamer, and I let it cook for like, let's say 10 minutes, and then I have hard-boiled eggs. And while it's cooking, I queue up some videos and a playlist on YouTube from my favorite YouTubers. I use a Chrome add-on called PocketTube to increase my efficiency with that, and then I cast a playlist to my TV. I make myself a tangy tangerine shake, and the remaining time, while the eggs are still cooking, I do anything that might be necessary, like throw some clothing in the washing machine or just clean something down. I then peel the hard-boiled eggs and eat. You see here, I've eliminated having to cook breakfast in the traditional way and cleaning all the dishes that come along with it. Same thing goes for exercise. You know, years ago, I used to go to the gym. I used to go to multiple gyms. It was like exercise and kickboxing was a hobby. Then I had a daughter and life changed a bit, so I stayed home more. Now I realize if I want to exercise, I don't have to commute to the gym. I could do all that at home. But how do I make things even more efficient than just staying at home? I could listen to an audiobook and learn while exercising. But because it's difficult to count your repetitions and focus on your audiobook at the same time, I cut out the repetitions. When it comes to cardio, you just keep doing those jumping jacks until you get reasonably tired. Just focus on what the audiobook is saying. And when it comes to lifting weights, a general rule is if you can't do 8 reps, then the weights are too heavy. And if you can do more than 16 reps, then the weights are too light. But do what you're comfortable with and don't count those reps. Listen to the audiobook and learn at the same time. And dude, I didn't really do any exercise from like late 2018 up until 2021. And I gained like 30 pounds just from being unfit. But with some light exercise here and there, I lost nearly all that at this point. But you have to sometimes sit down and think how you can improve the efficiency of what you do. For example, do you live in an area where groceries can be delivered to you? Can you say, order from Whole Foods and get those groceries delivered to your door? If not, as long as there's a Walmart close to you, just browse their app for everything you need. Schedule a time to pick up your groceries and they just bring it to you in your car. It saves you the time from having to walk down the aisles in the store. And don't even think about using Uber Eats to get prepared food just because you don't have time to cook, right? Because that's just an insane waste of money. Now look what I do. I have boxes or bags of chicken nuggets handy. If I have a busy day and I don't have time, I just throw some chicken nuggets in a toaster oven for lunch and they're ready in 10 minutes. And if you're worried about the nuggets being healthy, just get a box of organic nuggets. There's always a trade-off between time and money, but in the long run, time is more valuable than money because you can always get more money, but you can't get more time. So you always have to think wisely about the trade-off between the efficiency provided and the cost to make it happen. One good example is when I went through this dilemma, and in fact, I had just mentioned this in a previous video. It was about my excavator. I was talking about 0% loans, and I mentioned that I have a 0% loan on an excavator, and someone commented saying, "You have an excavator." So the story goes that I go back and forth between my house in upstate New York and my house down in the Gulf Coast area of Alabama. I was living down in the Gulf Coast mostly full-time in 2020. I didn't really go anywhere else because of the pandemic. Then in September of 2020, Hurricane Sally came in, and it was a disaster. I have a large piece of property, and I lost nearly 100 trees. So I was thinking I'd have to pay at least $20,000 at least to an excavation company to come out here and clean it all up. But if I buy my own excavator for say 40 grand, I can do it all myself and I'd have the thing here for the future. I never have to call anyone again for that, and I could create my own trails without having to pay somebody. So I made the leap, I got it on a 0% loan, and that was just prior to all this inflation that we've been dealing with, and all this inflation hadn't kicked in yet in late 2020. So yeah, that was some good timing. Now I know what you're thinking, but Mike, you spent all that money because it seemed to add up from a cost-effective point of view, but what about your time? Now you got to use your time to do all of that. Well, if you thought that, that's a good point, but here's the thing. One of the main reasons that I like this property so much is that I could do yard work in the sun. You see, when I'm up north, I developed this critical vitamin D issue, and I go to the south to replenish myself. And back in 2020, where there was this scare that people with low vitamin D would have a tougher time fighting the virus. So I'd spend 3 or 4 hours each weekend for the next couple of months working in the sun, cleaning up some down trees, which is what I wanted to do anyway. So it all worked out. And to this point, just a couple of weeks ago, I was taking my daughter down to the beach and we were exiting the property. We went out through the main driveway and it was blocked because a tree happened to fall down overnight. I was like, whoops, let's exit the other driveway for now. And when we come back, I could just use the excavator to move the tree. And dude, how do you beat that? It just goes to show you how I don't have to spend money calling other people to come and do that, and I can just do it. But these are just some examples of things that I do in my life so I can maximize efficiency so I can be more productive. Like, how do I squeeze out the non-essential stuff or the repetitive stuff so much that I can gain an extra hour or 2 of work and just make more money? Like, how do you optimize every aspect of your life, of your day, of your week, and so on? Do you have a house cleaner that helps you or a person that runs errands for you? Can they do other things for you? Who's going to clean your cars? Is there a mobile detailer that can come to your place? Can your house cleaner either manage that or take your cars to the detailer? And are there extra things that they could do? Do you need a house manager who can manage all the different people that do all of that stuff? A house manager takes care of anything in your home that would otherwise use your time. So it frees up your time so you can do the things in your business that make you the most money. And then you have time for yourself to recharge or to spend it with the people you love the most, like your kids or your family. You might have a ton of people do all this stuff, like a house cleaner, a carpet cleaner. Quick side note, get rid of those carpets, right? And a person who runs errands, a car detailer, and so on. But the challenge is you now have 4 or 5 people that you got to coordinate. So you might need to consolidate. Can you ask your cleaning lady, hey, could you stop by the grocery store once a week? Or can you babysit or something? And when it comes to the regular maintenance stuff, like not going for a full detail, but a regular car wash, can they take your car to the car wash? Can they put gas in your car? Can they take your car for an oil change? Basically, anything is going to help you stay put where you are so you can continue your work. There's probably somebody in your life that you trust, that you pay already, that you can probably pay the same amount to do other stuff, like run errands, go shopping, get groceries for you, or support you in some way, like whatever it is. This is so you can do something that you love, like take care of yourself or invest in your business and grow your business and have more resources. When you consolidate all these roles into one person, and you can delegate the outcome of managing different things in your life. So for example, you have an executive assistant. They manage all the corporate stuff, the emails, the legals, the financials for your business, your schedule, your time, your travel, and then everything that's on the house manager side is everything personal. They're the CEO of the cars, the assets, the real estate, the registration, the insurance. Who's going going to clean the gutters, the pressure washers, the garden irrigation, all these little things that when you add them all together, they take like 10 hours of your week or more, and you don't even realize it. And when you're a busy entrepreneur and you have family on top of that, then having somebody like this is so necessary. And the biggest strategy when you set this up is that your house manager should report to your executive assistant, because they know what your schedule is, your calendar, where you're going to be. And if you want somebody in your home that's going to be able to prep things, to purchase stuff, to run errands, they can work with that person that's around you to do that. So being in your office and having documents brought to you, you sign them, having all your mail processed, and then checks brought to your bank, moving parcels around, and shipping gifts off to people, and all that stuff, having it coordinated through your executive assistant with your house manager. So all of this helps you to have the focus to do the things that only you can do, and your productivity will soar. Keep in mind that time is more valuable than money, because you can get more money, but you can't get more time. This is actually a quote from Jim Rohn. If you found this video helpful, leave a comment below. Let me know your takeaway. And as usual, be sure to hit that like button. And by the way, I have some links in the description to some of those products that I spoke about, like the egg steamer, pocket tube, and so on. I'll catch you later, guys.